Stoicism is one of the most popular philosophies today. It's mentioned by everyone from NBA players to special forces soldiers to business executives. But what exactly is Stoicism and who founded it? Well, that's what we're going to explore in this episode of History's Greatest Philosophers. But before we get into that, if you enjoy these videos, it would really help me out if you hit that like button or subscribe. It would seriously mean a lot. Thanks. Stoicism was founded by Zeno of Citium around 300 BC. He was born into wealth in the city of Citium on the island of Cyprus, but he moved to Athens after his father died and left him in charge of the family business. However, disaster struck when Zeno's ship arrived in Athens carrying a cargo of figs. But upon arriving, Zeno found that there was already a surplus of figs on the market, so he took a massive loss. Thinking that life was just too difficult for him, Zeno decided to take his own life. But as he walked toward the agora, or marketplace, he saw some children playing at a funeral game, and he thought to himself, how could these kids be having fun while pretending to bury someone? This made Zeno stop and think about his plan. He decided not to kill himself. Instead, he went to the marketplace and sold his figs, giving the money to the children as an offering. From that point on, Zeno became a follower of Socrates and began to study philosophy. He then took those ideas and combined them with his personal experiences to form his own brand of philosophy, which he called Stoicism. The word Stoicism actually comes from the Greek word stoipoikol, which means painted porch. That's because Zeno taught under the shade of a painted porch in the Athenian agora. So what did Stoicism teach? Well, its central tenet is the idea that emotion is a disease of the mind. You see, the ancient Stoics believed that life was governed by a rational order known as logos. And because humans are rational by nature, we should live in harmony with logos and avoid being ruled by our emotions. Now, this doesn't mean that Stoics don't have emotions. In fact, they believe that emotions are appropriate at times. But if we let our emotions control us, we will become irrational and unhinged. So the goal of Stoicism is to live according to nature, or logos, and to avoid being controlled by our emotions. To do this, the Stoics had three main pieces of advice. First, we must understand that everything is interconnected and part of a larger whole. Epictetus, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, said it like this: nothing happens to you, but only for you. Everything is a source of learning. You are not disturbed by things, but by your own judgments about those things. Next, we must focus on the present moment. The past is gone and the future hasn't happened yet, so all we really have is now. And finally, we must remember that death is inevitable. No one knows when it will happen, so we must make the most of our time while we have it. These ideas were incredibly influential in the ancient world. Stoicism spread throughout the Roman Empire and was practiced by some of the most famous people in history, including Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, Cicero, and even the Emperor Hadrian. But Stoicism wasn't just confined to the elite. Slaves and women also practiced Stoicism, and the idea that anyone can rise above their circumstances through sheer willpower and self-discipline is still incredibly powerful today. If you want to learn more about Stoicism, I highly recommend the following resources. For a general overview, I recommend the book How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. It's not a deep dive into philosophy, but it gives a nice overview of Stoic principles and how they can be applied to everyday life, if you want something a little bit more academic. I recommend the book A History of Stoic Philosophy by Pierre Hadot. It's a bit dense, but it's the best introduction to the major figures and ideas of Stoicism. So what do you think? Is Stoicism just a bunch of feel-good philosophy, or does it actually work? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.